evening. We are coming on the air tonight at exactly 9 p.m. East African time. We are glad that you've chosen EBN TV to inform you tonight. We've got quite a lot in store for you. From the Kenya Kwanza Azimio National Dialogue that took place at the Bomas of Kenya, we'll be heading to the corridors of courts, where the quote-unquote Mathe Wangara has sought an anticipatory bail to bar police from arresting her. Well, this and much more lined up for you tonight, but here are the day's top stories. Nancy Kigunzu, alias Mathe Wangara, seeks anticipatory bail to bar police from arresting her over drug peddling allegations. National Dialogue Committee terms bipartisan talks on day 3 a success, even as agendas are set to be decided by the technical committee. Kenya and Indonesia signed 4 agreements, including the do-away of visas for Indonesians visiting Kenya. Well, hey there, I'm Cynthia Nanjala. Our SMS line is 23993. You can also watch us live on Facebook and on YouTube on EBN TV. EBN Prime Edition begins right now. The Senate is expected to be recalled for a special sitting to consider the motion seeking to legally establish the National Dialogue Committee after the National Assembly gave it a nod Thursday last week. This was revealed after the committee's 3rd meeting as its members reviewed the progress that had been made since the formation of the 10-member team. Now, the members are concerned that politicians are making utterances casting doubt on the ability of the committee. Its leadership has urged Kenyans to ignore the doubting Thomases. And while the committee will hold its 4th meeting this Friday, the technical committee will continue its sitting up until Thursday to sum up the agendas on the table.
The 2 technical teams presenting both sides in the dialogue have continued to engage very, very constructively, and especially on the twin issues of the framework agreement and the framing of issues.
We are all here from both coalitions engaging in good faith. We want to confirm to the country that Kenyans of all walks of life have their views and their opinions, which we appreciate, and we recognize their rights to the freedom of expression. But whatever other Kenyans say out there will not in any way determine the discourse of the engagements in this room. And we will work ignoring all the other noise that will come from other quarters out there.
Elsewhere, business lady Nancy Kigunzu has moved to court to block her arrest, claiming that she is a law-abiding Kenyan with a legitimate source of income. Elias Mathe Wangara Kigunzu has been on the news over the past week after detectives busted drugs and about 13.4 million shillings in cash, believed to be proceeds from drugs. And as Emmanuel Marwa reports, the popular and controversial businesswoman is now seeking anticipatory bail to bar police from arresting her.
A businesswoman who goes by the pseudonym Mathe Wangara has alleged that she is being unjustly targeted as a scapegoat in a drug syndicate scandal. Nancy Kigunzu asserts that investigative agencies are conducting an extensive search to arrest and charge her on fabricated charges. In legal documents submitted to the Milliman Law Courts, Kigunzu maintains that she is a law-abiding citizen and is perplexed as to why the police are pursuing her. She states that she had never committed any crime in Kenya, nor had she been involved in any criminal activity in Kenya, either personally or jointly with others. Therefore, she did not comprehend why the police are seeking to apprehend her. Kigunzu, represented by Advocate Shanice Maingi, has requested that the court issue an order to prevent her arrest and charging without a thorough investigation and an opportunity for her to be heard. Additionally, she has sought an order for anticipatory bail Kigunzu has also accused the Directorate of Criminal Investigation DCI and the Inspector General of unlawfully detaining her two minor sons aged 16 and 17 for 5 days without any justification. She believes that the purpose of her sons' detention is to intimidate her and subsequently arrest her without following due process. According to the court documents, Kigunzu learned of the arrest made in Ngara through the media. On the 17th of August, a drug bust was conducted at the Kariwa slums in Ngara, resulting in the discovery of hidden notes totaling 12,975,026 bags of marijuana and 4 cartons of rolling supplies. Additionally, 173 pieces of suspected blended drug bang and 42 cartons, each containing 200 pieces of cigarette confiscated. 4 suspects were apprehended, including Eugene Jumba, 16 years old, and Hilary Jumba, 17 years old, who are the children of Kigunzu. Sheila Witas and Teresa Wanjiru were also arrested. It was later discovered that Teresa Wanjiru, who was initially believed to be the notorious Mathe Wangara, was not the individual of interest, leading to an extended manhunt for Kigunzu. Teresa Wanjiru is suspected to be a significant drug peddler in Nairobi City. Reporting for EBN TV, I'm Emmanuel Marwa.
Well, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on Monday, August 21st, urged boda operators to guard the subsector against infiltration by criminal gangs, disguising themselves as entrepreneurs. Speaking during the launch of Nyandarua County's boda Ofisi Yangu training program in Nairobi, Gachagua asked the operators to obey the law, noting that police officers have also been asked to work with them in bringing sanity to the subsector. The DP mentioned that the Kenya Kwanza administration is investing in the subsector through introduction of electric motorcycles and implementation of the Hustler Fund.
The police, that boda riders are not criminals, they are businessmen. Hata kama biashara yao ni kidogo, ni wafanyabiashara. Waheshimike na wasihangaishwe, wasisumbuliwe. Lakini pia tufuate sheria. Let us follow the traffic laws. Number 2, let us not allow boda riders to be infiltrated by criminal gangs. Lazima mjuane, you know who is who, and you don't allow criminal elements within your industry, within your enterprise. Be your own policemen among yourselves. Wakora wakijificha kwenu, wanakuja kuibia watu, wanakuja kuvuja manyumba ya watu, wanachukua vibete za akina mama. Saa ile wanatafutwa, wengine ambaye hawahusiki watalaumiwa.
Well, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Pharmacists Dentists Union, KMPDU, wants universal healthcare, which was part of the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, to be included in the bipartisan talks. The union is calling on the Ministry of Health to address the shortage of healthcare workers, as promised in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, to improve health service delivery in the country. The union says it will stage up protests on September 12th to petition the ministry to absorb more healthcare workers.
The state of healthcare in the country has deteriorated than ever before. Because before devolution, the population we had at that point and the Kenyan population now has changed. But the number of healthcare workers, as you all know, has deteriorated.
That we promised, and the CS signed actually, because that was a conference in Brazil that was about HRH, that we were supposed to employ 12,000 healthcare workers each year. That is not the union's asking. It is what the government had committed to WHO to do, so that by 2017 we would think about implementation of universal health coverage. By now, we have not even employed the 12,000 that we were supposed to be doing annually.
Tunasimama kila wakati the same problem ndio tunaongelea. Basi mwito wetu kwa serikali ni kwamba wafungue macho na waweze kuhuzisha matatizo yale ambayo yaliyopo yanayohusikana na afya yaweze kuwekwa katika yale maongezi ambayo yanaendelea.
Indonesia has joined Senegal and Comoros as nations whose citizens are allowed to Kenya without visa. This was commissioned by President William Ruto on Monday morning when he hosted Indonesian President Joko Widodo. Both presidents also witnessed signing of bilateral treaties, among them being the Memorandum of Understanding on Oil and Petroleum, Pharmaceuticals, Education, Edible Oil and Agriculture, which will give Kenya an opportunity to export at least 100,000 livestock every year.
I have informed His Excellency the President that Kenya is open for business. A significant step in this direction must remain the relaxation of and progressive abolition of visa restrictions to enter or to entry between our two nations. On our part as Kenya, we have taken the decision to extend the visa-free entry not only to holders of diplomatic and service passports, but to all holders of Indonesian passports. So our friends from Indonesia can now come to Kenya visa-free to seize an emerging opportunity towards improving the balance of trade between our two countries. The position at the moment is that we are importing close to $500 million of products of different categories from Indonesia, and we export just under $100 million of product. That speaks two things. Number one, that we have an uneven trade imbalance, and also that the scope is not what we would expect. Both those give us the two opportunities to balance our trade, but to also scale up our trade between our two countries. The instruments that have been signed here will go a long way in providing the necessary environment for us to scale up that trade.
Well, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has urged African countries to prioritize education reforms in order to compete globally. Mudavadi made the remarks as he lauded the role examiners and assessors play in African countries, saying as professionals, they determine true abilities of every learner in the education system. He said that no other profession demands for integrity, honesty and ethics like the psychometricians, educators and researchers, because they determine the fate of countries whose most crucial asset is the human resource.
Our desire is that learners are agile and ready to embrace the needs of the 21st century workplace. We therefore hope to benefit from conference discussions on leveraging ICT in assessment. While discussing the sub-theme, managing the social educational effects of higher education stakes assessment to ensure equity and fairness.
Former Mumia East Member of Parliament Benjamin Washiali has filed a report at Shianda Police Station against the current legislator Peter Salasia following allegations of misappropriation of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF funds. Addressing the press at the police station after filing the report, Washiali stated that during a public meeting, Salasia claimed to have embezzled CDF funds while he was an MP and demanded an apology, warning of a legal action. Washiali further criticized Salasia for scrapping projects he initiated during his term, including cancelling a project that provided 100% tuition fee sponsorship for 150 students from underprivileged families in the area.
Claiming that I stole money belonging to the people of Mumias East. To an extension, it means the committee that was also working with me were a part of this stealing. He claimed that he has documents in as far as his claim is concerned, and therefore we are challenging him to submit those documents either to the DCI or to my lawyers who are going to write him a letter demanding an apology by tomorrow. We want him to come out clearly and tell us how the money he claims for me to have stolen, and he should prove that otherwise. we are going to meet in court. The other day he was saying that that this committee stole the CDF bus. The CDF bus was donated to KMTC so that we can have the nursing students accessing medical institutions, the hospitals, like the level 4 hospital in Mumias and the general hospital in Kakamega. That was the arrangement we had with KMTC. We have bought 6 buses, which the other day he was running around. I don't know whether those are the ones he is talking about development. He had nothing to do with that development. All we are told is that he is putting up toilets in schools. The projects that were ongoing, including the laboratory in Habakaya, the laboratory in Musango, the laboratory in Bwadiro, he was supposed to have put more money so that those laboratories are complete. From Mumias East, coming from poor background, he stooped to them, he has sent them back to the streets. And yet we had already put budget for that. That is the only item that makes me regret why I left this thing. I wish I would have just gone through the elections.
Well, long-distance vehicle drivers have threatened to go on strike to protest against being forced to go back to school to receive training to strengthen their driving education, while mentioning the action is aimed at oppressing drivers and the transport sector in general. The government's move to provide more training to drivers in the long distance continues to cause a stir among drivers in the country. Most of those particular drivers have mentioned salary and age as an obstacle that leads them to oppose the government plan through the Ministry of Transport and the National Transport Safety Authority, NTSA.
Wanatuita kwenye meza, wakatufundishe gari kwenye meza, tuendeshe gari kwenye meza, ambapo model ya hiyo barabara yenyewe ambao tunaendesha hiyo gari ni ya ng'ambo. Sasa mimi nashindwa ni kitu gani wao wanaenda kutufundisha zaidi. Kama wanataka kweli kutufanyia mtihani, waingie katika manori hapa, tufanye kazi na wao. Nataka nimwambie rafiki yangu Kipchumba Murkomen kwamba ile silaha tuliyotumia wakati ule mpaka akasikia na akatupatia, akaahidi kwamba tutakaa kikao siku 14, na leo hii amekataa hata kukaa na sisi licha ya kuwa aliandika barua. Tunataka kumwambia hiyo silaha bado hatujatupa, na kwa sababu yeye anataka kufanya kazi yetu iwe ngumu zaidi, yake pia tutaifanya iwe ngumu zaidi. Ni dhuluma ya watu wachache ambao wamekaa katika meza na wakapanga vile ambavyo watatafuta pesa, kwa sababu kama ni kumaliza ajali katika barabara, ni madereva wote hata wa bodaboda warudi shule. Kwa nini ni wa mabasi peke yake na malori ambao wanarudi shule kama sio dhuluma hiyo?
Nilisoma niko na miaka 30 tangu nisome hazijarudi shule tena. Nasifanyagi mambo ya kusoma ni kupeleka shule, ni kupeleka gari. So mimi naona hii masomo yao wameregeja ni ngumu, na wenye wanataka warudi shule kwa trela, hakuna mtoto wa miaka 20 anapeleka trela.
Mimi ikifikia swala la darasani, na afadhali nirudi shambani nikalime, kwa sababu sitarudi darasani kwa wakati huu. Wanangu wanasoma na mimi pia nirudi darasani nikasome, hiyo haileti shangwe kabisa.
Elsewhere, police officers from the Hayega police station in Shinyalu constituency are holding 3 youths believed to be part of a terrorist group known as Jeshi. This group is alleged to have been tormenting villagers. In a recent incident, they attacked a resident's home in Lihovero village, leaving 2 people severely injured before being subdued by the locals, resulting in the death of 1 assailant. Here is Victor Nzobeli with that report.
In Shinyalu constituency, a gang known as Jeshi has been frustrating villagers, and in their latest act of violence, the said group attacked a resident's home in Likovero village and injured 2 individuals. The 3 youth believed to be part of the gang have been arrested and are being held by police officers from Hayega police station.
Area hii benye hii maneno imefanyika, pangi ndio iko hapo kwa wengi na dawa ya kulevya ndio iko hapo. Imenunuliwa, inauzwa hapo. Tena watu wanatokanga sehemu mbalimbali wakija kununua hapa hiyo bangi. Na hiyo imekuwa muta, ni miaka, sio saa hii, na tena ni shule ya watoto. Haitakikani bangi iuzwe hapo.
According to the victims, These youth were on a motorcycle and armed with crude weapons including clubs and machetes. They sought retaliation following accusations of being involved in the theft of 4 goats, 2 of which were recovered while the other 2 were reportedly slaughtered by the group.
Ndio wezi ni group ya watu wengi. Ya wengine wameshikwa wawili wako hospitali lakini wako kwa mikono ya serikali. Alafu kuna mwingine alitoroka mmoja na hao wengine tena wameua mmoja sasa. Walisema ni watu kikundi cha watu 12 kulingana vile nilikuwa nasikia ripoti asubuhi hapa. Wanajiita jeshi chinga kutoka hii area ya Likhovero lakini hawatoki tu hapa. Wanatoka sehemu tofauti mbali. Hata wenye walikuwa hapa si wajui sijaiona.
Apart from the fatality, the villagers also banned the motorcycles their assailants had, claiming that they were drug addicts. Shinyalu OCPD Daniel Mukumbu, contacted by phone, mentioned that the incident is under investigation. He further clarified that only 2 goats were stolen, not 4, as previously reported by the affected family.
Toka kanisa, nikakuta vijana wawili wameingia kwa boma yangu, walikuwa wanataka waue mzee, lakini hawakumpata. Walipata kijana mmoja alikuwa anatoka kufunga ng'ombe, alafu wamemkata. Na bibi mwenzangu wamempiga mkono, wamemkata tena. Alikuwa anatoka kanisa, yeye aliingia mapema na mimi nilikuwa niko mbali kidogo.
The deceased body has been taken to the morgue at the referral hospital in Kakamega town. Victor Nzobeli for EBN TV.
Well, Kaimosi University administration has defended itself against claims of bias and nepotism by local political leaders, saying the recruitment and procurement procedures are above board. Speaking at the university ground, the university legal officer Linet Mayavi said the procurement processes are objective and all bidders who have been unsuccessful at the institution have been given briefs on why they did not succeed. Local leaders, including Hamisi Member of Parliament Charles Gimose, have accused the university management of denying locals jobs and procurement opportunities.
Tunataka mahasala waandikwe hapo kwa university, si ndio? Yeah. Na mahasala ni cleaners. Nyinyi mnasikia hata kampuni ya kufagia hapo inatoka Nakuru. Na wamefuta hata watoto wenu 7.
Na hii mambo inakuja leo sababu kazi ya Vice Chancellor imetangazwa pale. Na mimi sitaki mtu aongee ukabila kwa mambo hii. Hakuna mtu anasema fulani sijui ni kabila hii, fulani ni kabila hii. No. Hatuwezi sema ukabila, si ndio?
We are saying the university must cater for the people of this county and this country. Yes. That's what we are looking for. We are not going to fight around every day, every now and then.
There's this one narrative that keeps going around. I, as legal, have taken it even to the social media sometimes to answer. They say that the locals should be 70%. No, it is 1/3. As per the National Cohesion and Integration Act, it is 1/3 of any should not be the same community. We had 218, and therefore only 73 should be from this community. And as I read, you already realize that we've surpassed that number.
Also, more than 12 businesses were burnt down by fire in Nyambiri constituency of Lari in Kiambu County last night, while the victims were left to estimate the loss of millions of money. According to those affected, they explain how they should have been informed of the tragedy, while their attempts together with the other residents to extinguish the fire were in vain. All the property was turned into ashes. Just a few meters from that particular commercial area, another house also burnt down in a different tragedy, leaving a mother's property in ashes because fire engines arrived late. Currently, the residents want the county governor, Paul Kimani Wamatangi, to give them 1 fire truck in that area because they have to rely on fire departments from other neighboring constituencies.
Hasa chanzo chake ni kipi? Lakini tunatarajia na tunabunia, kuna nyumba 3, kuna hoteli, upande wa kushoto kwenye hii ploti ya Michael, na kuna ploti nyingine upande wangu. Kuna nyumba mbili, kuna moja ni hoteli na kuna nyumba nyingine nayo inapikiwa nguruwe. Kule kunatumika moto, kuna kuni, kuna makaa. Inaweza kuwa imetokea huku.
Kwa simu karibu saa 8 nikaambiwa moto imeshika. Sasa sike toka huko nikuje. Sasa ile nilikuja kitu kama saa 8 saa 9 ama saa 9 inaelekea saa 10. Sasa kukuja mimi hakuna kitu tuliokolea hata. Hiyo manyumba hiyo ya biashara yote hakuna kitu tumeokoa hata.
Hasara imepatikana hapa ni biashara 12 zilikuwa zimewekwa hapa na zote zilitekea kwa moto, na ombi letu kwa serikali yetu ya Kiambu County ambayo inaongozwa na governor ni tuwe na disaster management fund, pesa ambayo hii mikasa ya moto ikitokea tunaweza kuwapatia wananchi kitu kidogo wanaweza kujimudu kimaisha.
Now let's switch gears to what's happening beyond Kenya's borders. Somalia's government has imposed a complete ban on the use of TikTok, Telegram and a betting company 1xBet, ostensibly due to concerns over the dissemination of propaganda within the country. The government alleges that the Al-Qaeda group present in the country has been exploiting those particular platforms for warmongering and spreading propaganda designed to foster hatred within the nation. The Minister for Communication and Technology, Jamaa Hassan Khalif, has issued an instruction to the companies providing internet services, directing them to cease the use of these 3 applications. The move comes at a time the insurgent group Al-Shabaab adopted these platforms to disseminate information about their inhumane activities. The affected companies have been granted until the 24th of August to hold the services in Somalia. Well, 72 teams from the counties of Kiambu, Kajiado, Nairobi, and Murang'a will benefit from the Kiambu County government's training of coaches who will work with the teams to nurture talents in the areas. Over 800 players under the age of 19 were in Kiambu County to participate in football matches during the coaches' training. During those tournaments, the coaches lamented the lack of access to proper playing grounds for the young players. They also recommended that the top players from the tournament be inducted into the national teams.
Wana pali ya kucheza. Alafu pia kuna ile mambo ya emphasize on academics. Pia tunafaa kupea watoto nafasi ya kuja kucheza na kuweza kukutana na watoto wengine, kupigana chobo, kupigana kanzu. Hiyo ndio pia wanapenda on top of the academics that they are doing.
Well, the national women's volleyball team Malkia Strikers will face off Nigeria in the quarters at the ongoing African Volleyball Championships in Yaoundé, Cameroon tomorrow. The 3-0 win over debutants Lesotho on Sunday marked the end of the first round, and the players are hopeful Kenya will go all the way to the finals and clinch a record-extending 10th African title. Kenya has lost to Cameroon in the finals in 2019 and 2021 editions, and the last global trophy Malkia Strikers won was in 2015. Well, Siaya residents will have to wait for another 9 months for them to start benefiting from the county's 20,000 capacity modern stadium, whose construction has been underway. According to the Siaya County Secretary, Joseph Ogutu, the construction of the multi-million stadium, which began in 2019, is projected to be completed sometime between March and June next year. Speaking at the county stadium while receiving some of the construction materials, Ogutu says they expect to have received all roofing materials by mid-October this year to facilitate the progress of the construction works. The county secretary, who was flanked by the Siaya County Chief of Staff, Colonel Retired Cyrus Oguna, And the County Executive Committee member for Governance and Administration, Agunda Ochanda, admitted that the completion of the 495 million shilling stadium has taken long overdue.
I want to report that on behalf of the governor, we have received materials from Nairobi which were fabricated for the stadium roof, the trusses, 3 in number out of the 11 expected, and we expect further delivery this Friday and the final delivery somewhere in October. These are the key materials that are required to construct the roof of this particular stadium. Before this, we had received a total of 8 steel columns, which are also part of the roof structure, and which are being, which are being installed in preparation for the installation of the trusses.
Yeah, well, that is where we wrap our news for tonight. Thank you for keeping me company. I hope you're up to date with what is making headlines across the country. Be sure to join Sami Adika tomorrow at 7 a.m. on Morning Live. The role of youth in the country's politics. The youth make up the larger population in this particular country. What do they do with their voice, politically speaking? Are they interested in politics, for that matter? So that conversation will be brought to you tomorrow by Sami Adika. But for now, I'm Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourselves a wonderful night. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Blessed night.